This conference will now be recorded.
Right, good morning. My name is Sarah Crom. I'm with the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization. Welcome to the 2020 St. John's River to Sea Loop Virtual Summit. We hope that everyone is healthy and well in these trying times. Today's presentation will be a double hitter here today, promoting the local flavor with Ginger Hoke and Heather Neville, and fun with Flora and Fauna promoting ecotourism with Rob Barrett and Georgia Turner. Before we get started with today's presentation, we would like to take a moment to recognize our partners and sponsors who without their support today would not be possible. The City of Titusville, Playlinda Brewing Company, Florida American Planning Association Atlantic Coast Section, Titus Landing, Lisa Mosier with Coldwell Banker Coast Realty, Wild Ocean Market, Bike Florida, Days Inn by Wyndham, Coldwell Banker Coast Realty, Titusville Area Chamber of Commerce, the St. John's River to Sea Loop Alliance, the Space Coast TPO, and the Florida Office of Greenways and Trails. For some housekeeping and some friendly reminders before we get going, please make sure that you are muted during the presentations. If you would like to ask a question, we will take Q&A at the end, and we will do that either via chat box, and after we do the chat box, we'll then open it up for verbal questions. I am going to turn it over to Ginger, and we will get started today. All right, Ginger.
I'm waiting for the share screen.
Sending it to you.
Okay, good morning. I'm here to represent the small town charm of downtown Winter Garden for the St. John's River to Sea Loop Summit, promoting local flavor. I am Ginger Hoke. I'm a landscape architect and senior project manager for the Neil Schaefer Complete Communities Group. We specialize in bicycle and pedestrian trails and master planning and design, multimodal planning, community visioning, parking management, and grants research and application assistance. So we were honored to work with the City of Winter Garden for their Trail Town application, which was successful. So I'm going to go over a few things. They've had me represent them today. Winter Garden, Florida is about 20 minutes west of Orlando. Most of you have probably been to their trail, the West Orange Trail, through their downtown. So they have the lucky part of having an old rail corridor that went through their downtown on Plant Street. It was a rail trail, and it's turned into a very popular trail through their town as part of the 22-mile West Orange Trail. It has definitely transformed Plant Street through their town. Here's an image from 1990 and then one from 2020. The trail itself and just maybe the economy, but I think the trail has helped a lot. It's spurred a lot of development down there, and they have worked really hard to make their downtown trail focused. So we're going to talk about some of that today. So their trail acts as a linear park. They've put a lot of nice features downtown. It's what they call is their downtown living room. So people that are coming to visit Winter Garden come there to be able to socialize and sit and enjoy the environment there, as well as the trail, and their residents like it as well. A lot of people have been moving there just for the trail. Quality landscaping and maintenance to me is one of the key factors that sets Winter Garden apart. They really are very careful about making everything look like it can be the backdrop for any photo for everybody right now. And I think it really does help when you're establishing a trail to go to the length to make it all very park-like. They also have ample downtown parking. Like I said, we do parking management studies, and a lot of it is always trying to get people to ride their bikes to a destination instead of taking their car. So they've been very successful in that, mostly because of the connection there. The trail users support the downtown merchants. Back in 2011, I did some work for the Regional Planning Council, the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council, and we studied the economic benefits of the trails, and we found that $20 was spent by each person that was on the trail downtown. So I'm sure that's even more nowadays, and it is a it's a two-way street. It's sort of a win-win because also the shops are there to help the trail users. So they have a lot of trail related shops downtown. They sponsor a lot of group rides, and there's a lot of people that come there for events, for bicycle events, large and small. I know you look at this one down, the picture down below, and you all think, oh my gosh, there's no social distancing. But they've addressed that too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's also a popular location for parades and fundraising events. And it has been an incredible catalyst for development. They've been able to get downtown residential housing, which is good for a healthy downtown, as well as more commercial and retail development. A lot of it is trail focused, and they advertise the trail in their literature. In fact, it's so popular and so highly used for their trail that they're going to have to realign the trail in the downtown, and it's their next project, just because it's too crowded. So how are they addressing some of the COVID-19 impacts to the trail? And as many of you are aware, there's an increased use of outdoor recreation, and change is hard. People are still congregating, especially in their beloved trail town. And the city is has to work to balance the social distancing and health of their residents and visitors with downtown business survival. And then also suddenly every business needs a curb. So what they have worked on is adding hand washing and hand sanitizing stations to the parks in downtown. They've removed some seating to discourage groups from congregating because people just keep doing what they used to do. And they have had to work with some people to encourage them to meet in smaller groups. And then they're promoting the curbside service. So they're working with the local merchants. They've even taken it one step further to come up with a curbside program where they do online work to kind of unify all of the downtown and make curbside programs successful. They have trail and takeout, which supports the trail users and the local businesses. They control crowds with post and rope lines at the farmers market. And then they promote social distancing with temporary safety barriers. I think all of these things, we wanted to share with other cities that might be, facing the same problems and coming up with ways to continue on, but have a little bit of control of the crowds. So the lessons learned that they wanted to communicate was to be true to your heritage, to build from your assets, focus on placemaking, and that's where they come in with their landscaping and some of their really park-like trails, and then be flexible and resilient so you can change with the times. And that's the end. If you have any reason to contact anybody, here's some contact information for the people that have been involved with a lot of the trails, as well as my name at the bottom. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ginger. I am going to pass it over to Heather.
Can you hear me, Sarah?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to do a combo platter between the computer and my cell phone. So let's see how this goes.
I see your screen. Looks great.
Okay, perfect. So, hi, I'm Heather Neville, and I am the principal at Broome Planning, located in the historic city of St. Augustine. And I'm really excited. I love talking about trails and the River to Sea Loop, but I really also love talking about my beloved city of St. Augustine. And I'm really excited and proud to share the efforts that many in the northern end of the loop, but especially my hometown in the city of St. Augustine, have done to work towards trails and these kinds of things. If you haven't met me or been exposed to any of my presentation style before, I do want to warn you, I am a little bit quirky. And if you have been through one of these before, then I hope you enjoy what we're going to go over. So today we're going to explore a little bit of how the Old City and our agritourism areas Ecotour. We've had some new ways, and of course we've used some old ways too. And so I wanted to embark on a little journey with you of 455 years on how we're planning to complete the River to Sea Loop and enhance our beautiful space here through promotion of ecotourism and trails. And this image is actually by one of our local firefighters. We had a contest a couple years ago, and this was by him, and that's Pedro Menendez Landing here in St. Augustine. So here's a very brief 455-year history of the city of St. Augustine. It's abbreviated because I could talk all day, and Sarah and everybody probably wouldn't want me to do that, but they know I can talk forever. So I invite all of you to come up, and I'd love to buy you a coffee or a local brew or cocktail from our many local breweries that we have here in the town as well as in our area. But roughly in 1500 AD-ish, the first bicycle illustration was found or established. It's hotly debated as to who actually did it, but less than 100 years later, Pedro Menendez landed on the shores of St. Augustine, and they have discovered the exact location, and that's where that monument is. He also happened to land on the East Coast Greenway, which aligns with our River to Sea Loop just north of the downtown area. So fast forward about 450 years, and we started really rejuvenating the sense of place as it related to our town and the bicycle and the history of the bicycle. The bicycle has been a part of our community since Henry Flagler was here in the Columbia Bicycle Shop and Company. So that's really where my story began in the city as far as trails and the loop and everything else. In 2015, however, everything changed for our little town as it related to bikeable and walkable amenities. We've all been discussing it for a long time, but the Mumford & Sons International Band decided to have one of their tour stopovers and take over our town. We had approximately 60,000 people in town over the 4 days, and that's between locals, ticket holders, just onlookers because it was so interesting. But we actually were able to click 7,000 bicycles as vehicles. We established a bike valet, and that really put a sense of place on our radar that bikes do belong, and walking and biking is a form of transportation and a way to build commerce and get people to more locations around the town. In 2020, at the end of 2019, I'm proud to say that we were able to submit 32 miles of trail grant applications to the DOT, which was a historic event for our community because we were able to get consensus amongst all three jurisdictions, the county, the city, and the city of St. Augustine Beach councils, to not only agree 5-0 on each level for the trail, but to overcome challenges that we knew we would have as far as identifying a location. We also are very excited. Our bike share programs, Gotcha Bike and Drifters, which is now available for rent, have just started in our old town. So again, I hope that that's a brief enough history, but I wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed because history is such an important part of being a St. Augustinian. So here's our little bit about our areas of focus here. By and large, we are defined by our three areas of focus: history, our towns, and our natural amenities. We have limitless options though, and our county and entrepreneurs and strong local leadership continue to develop amazing projects and business centers. As you can see, these are categorized into our small towns, which include the city of St. Augustine Beach, Marineland, Crescent Beach, Butler Beach, and then our agritourism areas of Hastings, which is the potato capital of Florida, Spud, Elkton, and Armstrong. And by the way, we love our superlatives. We also have our lovely neighbors to our west is Palatka, the Atlantic Ocean, Matanzas River, Deep Creek, St. Johns River, and we have wonderful parks here, including Anastasia State Park, Cora Harrison Trailhead, Deep Creek Conservation Area, Tri-County Agritourism Corridor, and of course, the Giant Fort, which isn't really on the loop, but it's pretty darn close. So what are our marketing strategies, and how do we get as many people engaged, aware, and rolling in the same direction to support separated trails? We believe the promotion of ecotourism and the positive effects it has on our community and connectivity and the economics it promotes cannot be underestimated. But the main focus of all of our endeavors is to hone in on the long term without weighing down the message of our events with a burden of bigger goals like safety and construction. So what is our marketing plan? Basically, it's to get people out. So how do we do that? There's 3 examples up here. One's the bike parade. That's something that families, young and old, love to come and do. We had the Wrigley Ride, which is a touring bike ride. It had 40 to 100-mile options. And then, of course, we had walking events and running events, such as the Armstrong ribbon cutting in 2013. How do we do it? And when I say we, some of this I've done by myself, but a lot of this has been through partnerships with collaborations from government to private industry. But the biggest piece of this has been communication and promotion through collaboration with print, online, direct ask, and email. But the biggest thing is success story for us has been face-to-face. And who do we want? We want anybody who breathes oxygen. Babies, kids, teens, young adults, wise adults, and animals. And we want to get everybody out. Events, rides, tours, brews, volunteering, or to use bicycles and walking and other things as transit. So this is a really wild collage with a lot of different examples, but it's pretty simple. We just need people out. For the purpose of this slide, I'll go through it very quickly. We've had everything from, we've done 5Ks. The Jailbreak 5K started out, the first one was 2 weeks after Hurricane Matthew, and we still had over 200 people. And this event was given to a local charity that raises money for schools and school supplies, and they had 1,000 attendees last year when we handed it over. The Happy Mother's May was a great event, and that was a way to just reach across to people that may or may not come to a typical bike trail or walking event. But we focus all on moms and Mr. Moms and furry moms. You'll see it's not just women in the picture. We sold the event out, and it was a great time had by all. We've done bike to work days. We've had the bike ballet that was talked about before and ribbon cuttings. And one of our biggest outreach components has been the bike ballet combined with helmet fittings. And again, our strategy is to just reach across. So there's everything from walking, running, 5Ks, bike as transit, as well as bike as fun. So does it make sense? A lot of times we get asked, what is the cost? It's going to be so expensive to make a difference. And most things are free. From a marketing budget perspective, I've done things that are $0 up to $60,000 events cost. So sometimes, again, it's free. We started up here in St. Augustine as VeloFest with $0, and our event budgets were 100% in kind, up to the bike races and some of our larger events where it was $50,000 to $60,000, funded by sponsors, registration fees, and some fee for service. We found that if you put together a good plan, and if you do what you say you're going to do, and if you ask really nicely, people do help. But don't forget about grants and matching money. But many things, again, do not cost a dime. I wanted to play, if I can get it to roll through here, a quick video. And let's see here. If I can get it to go. And this video is from an event, a partnership project that we did with the Byway, the Scenic Byway here in 2013, about 7 years ago. And I'm going to run it really quick. And this is we did a 6-part series, and we got a Visit Florida grant. And the Byway helped apply, and we spent the money, the cash, and we got the grant, and it came up with this to promote cycling in our area. I'm going to play this really quick for you guys. Sarah, let me know if you can hear it.
I can hear it.
We have a great cycling.
I could hear it for a second.
You hear it now?
No.
Well, I've got it included. We can send it out to everybody. I don't know why
Yeah, we can do that. It's probably because you're using the phone and the computer audio, and
Yeah.
so that you're getting feedback.
Yeah, so I'll just run it. Anyway, so it's this great 6-part series, and we were able to leverage we were able to leverage our concepts of promotion in order to highlight everything having to do with the city of St. Augustine, our beaches and everything. And it's just a really beautiful series that we did. And again, that was a partnership that we would not have been able to fund that or do that without partnerships. And that was a really successful example. And I'm sorry that I couldn't get it to play. So next up is the concept of the starfish method. And what does success look like? So a lot of times when we're talking about promoting events, especially as it relates to ecotourism, what are we trying to accomplish? And I've always believed that if one extra person shows up, then we've met our goal, which is to get someone out new and enjoying all of these things that we all are working towards. So the starfish method is the concept that if you throw one starfish back, it made a difference to him. However, when you sell out and have over 1,000 bodies or make the cover of the newspaper or trend online, it does feel amazing. And so the quality of the promotion and the quality of the events that we put out, we feel has created an expectation. And so we feel confident now that when we do events such as this Green Path Gathering, which is a new event, collaboration event with our St. Augustine Amphitheater to actually support the River to Sea Loop construction, we, even with a horrible storm and all kinds of things that day, we still had a really solid attendance in order to support our trails. So touring from 1 to 100 miles, a lot of people think about ecotourism, they think of long distance, they think of all these backpacks, and that's certainly part of it, but we like to think of the ecotourism next door, the less than 3 miles. How can you be a better tourist? How can you keep clean? How can you bring your water bottles so that we can all manage to move around a little bit better? So these are the users that we like, and it kind of encompasses everybody from walking to equestrian friends, as well as our transportation and leisure mobility friends in the pedicab industry. Lots of petty businesses here in St. Augustine, from popsicles to coffee to locally brewed beer, as well as our micro-mobility friends, such as the bike share. And so we've seen a lot of great expansion in those various industries, including gravel bike tours, bike rentals and bike tours, and so as well as our running community. And so those are the users that we look for, which basically encompasses everybody. But there are some people that we don't like. And so what we do is, instead of saying what we don't like about them, we try to find a way to help make them better. And this includes ourselves. So another side of what we feel is important to promote the local flavor is to make sure that we're all doing things that keep us safe and keep us welcome into the community. A lot of times you'll hear that there's some kickback to promoting cycling or walking or pedicabs, mostly because of people's fear or frustration. And so education programs to fill the gaps in service where we can, where maybe there's not a budget for it locally, or just we want to do it our own way. We have the Don't Be a Salmon campaign. There's a lot of other ones, including It's the Right and Must Thing to Do. And these are all free campaigns to the community. We've actually given these to other communities as well. So if there's anything on there you see you want, just let us know and we can send it over. But we also are really proud of our Light Up the Bikes free bike light program at the homeless shelter. We've actually been doing that now since 2015. It was a gift to our community for the 450th birthday party. And we have managed to fund at least 500 sets of bike lights into our community that are installed at the shelter for people when they need them, as well as replacement batteries. So kind of last but not least, this image is from when Mumford & Sons was here, September 12, 2013. This was snapped by a friend of mine when she was riding over the bridge. And the biggest thing I can, if I can part any wisdom, is that we've all been diligent here locally, at least since I've been involved, since about 2012. And we want to promote our separated facility, and we want to do it the right way, and we want to incorporate as many people as possible. But the best thing I can do is say just to get out there, get rolling. We're all the best examples of people who want this type of infrastructure. And so, you know, try to get out at least once a week and walk or ride your bike. And when you can't, and you see somebody else who's getting to do that when you're not able to for whatever reason, you know, try to snap a pic as long as you're not driving, or just keep in mind and post about it later on social media, because at the end of the day, the more we communicate about how wonderful it is, the more we can start changing people's minds to want to come and do this too. So I want to thank you all for listening to me. I tried to not ramble too much. I've got lots of resources if anybody needs them. They're all on the Facebook pages that I have and manage. And if you ever want to come up to the city of St. Augustine, I'd love to give you a tour, or we can just have a sit and chit chat on the bayfront. But that is how we are promoting our local history, natural amenities in town for the St. Augustine area of the St. Johns River to Sea Loop. Thanks, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Heather. So we're going to switch gears here and go into promoting ecotourism now. So thank you both, Ginger and Heather, for telling us about your areas and how you've been promoting your local flavor. I am now going to send the screen over to Rob to kick us off with ecotourism. All right, Rob, I see your screen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I just want to say good morning to everyone, and thank you for giving me a platform to share some of the great things we're doing at Florida State Parks, and also to talk about kind of our strategy for making sure that we're engaging people and that we're moving people forward in a process as we talk with them. So I will get started, and I noticed Donald was on the call, and Katie, and a few other of my DEP / Department of Division of Recreation and Parks compatriots or former compatriots. So good to see you here. Thanks so much. Florida State Parks encompasses a broad variety of resources, both natural and cultural. So here is kind of a mosaic of things you might find. Rapids in Florida. You might find historic homes, or the largest congregations of manatees in the world for some instances. Beautiful, unbroken pieces of intact sandhill with blazing star blooming, and also built environment where we have trail infrastructure. So how do we communicate all of these messages? First, we need to look at what are our component parts. So a little bit of a brag, Florida State Parks became the first ever 4-time gold medal winner. We were the first ever 3-time gold medal winner and the first ever 2-time gold medal winner of the National Recreation and Parks Association State Park Management of the Year. So we're very proud of that, and you can only be nominated every 5 years, and so it was a really great experience. And all of that is due to the nearly 30 million visitors we have, the 1,400 employees, and the 20,000 volunteers. We're also served by 80 friends groups, more than that. We have over 1 million volunteer hours, almost $70 million in revenue, and an economic impact of $2.6 billion. So that's kind of a breakdown of some of the component pieces of parks. Now, where are those resources distributed over, and how does that feel? Because if you're managing a smaller recreation group, you may say, oh, look, we don't have those resources. But if you divide it out, I think we're facing some similar issues, because we have 100 miles of beaches that we manage, over 2,000 miles of trails. We have 92 independent businesses operating in state parks. We have 205 cabins and over 3,000 campsites. So all of these pieces are coming together, and we have people interacting all over the state under normal circumstances. So who are these people? who look at parks and say, I expect parks to provide something to me. They are our parks and recreational users, the residents and visitors of Florida who come and use parks. Then there's also the partners, the people whose businesses rely on parks, or the private organizations who have a vested interest in parks, whether they be governmental partners, business partners, or nonprofit partners. All of them have an interest in what happens in parks. We also have taxpayers. So we have people who may never step foot in a park, but we are investing their money in a system that benefits them. Through some of our research, we found out that just knowing parks existed made people feel better. They didn't necessarily even have to go to them. Now, we all know we want them to come to parks and trails when it's safe, but we are happy that we provide a service even for those who don't use us in their everyday life. And then, of course, we can't forget our workforce, our staff and our volunteers who are working in Florida state parks. So if we're serving stakeholders, what does that mean? What are stakeholder benefits? Who are the people we serve, and what are they looking for in parks? So we do market and user satisfaction surveys to kind of develop that information. And also we keep an ongoing dialogue through social media, internet, the phone, just like all of you do, to make sure that we're capturing what people want. We also have post-visit surveys for our campers. Investments in revenue. How do we make parks and recreation the best investment of time and money for our stakeholders? So that no matter who you are in that spectrum of stakeholders, when you look at parks, you go, that's something I support because I see a benefit of my time and money in that. And then efficient operations. How are we continuously improving the ways we do things to protect natural areas and also cultural resources? So here's an example of one of our training workshops with managers of Springs Parks. So what does that boil down to for my area, interpretive services? It really looks at mission-based programming. What is it that we do that encourages and demonstrates to our stakeholders that we are providing value to them so we can continue support and visitation? One thing we can do is make sure that we stick to mission with all of our programming. So our mission is to provide resource-based recreation while preserving, interpreting, and restoring natural and cultural resources. So I've introduced what we're doing, why we're doing it, the mission behind it. Now, what is our goal? Whenever somebody comes to a park or a trail, they start somewhere on this stair step. They may be curious. They may see it in their community and go, I wonder what that is. They may be aware of what it is, but they don't really understand its significance. And then they may understand its significance, but they may not see how that significance affects them. So we want to move them up to caring about it. And once they care about it, we want them to take an active role in caring for it. And that should eventually lead people to stewardship, to where they feel that their actions can have a positive benefit on parks, and they do that. And that is kind of an ultimate goal of ecotourism. We show people the value and the beauty of nature, and they support it so that we can show more people it. So our goal is always to capture people wherever they are on this stair step and move them up through mission-based programming. So what are our indicators of mission-based programming? We have a theme. So we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is thematic so that there's a unifying force going throughout. We want to have objectives. We want to be able to finish a program or check in on a series of programs and say, are we meeting our goals? Is this program doing what we thought it was doing? Do we need to modify the program to get back online with objectives? Or was there an unexpected benefit that we didn't include in our objectives that now we need to begin to monitor? And then we also need to make sure that we have an audience in mind. One thing that we always run into when we're training new program providers is we say, who is this program for? And they're like, oh, this program is for everyone. However, if a program is for everyone, it really loses its meat and impact. we feel that programs should be targeted towards audiences. Now, that audience may be as specific as Mrs. O'Malley's 4th grade class, or it may be as broad as weekend users of Florida State Parks or weekday users of a state trail. All of those people have something in common, and as we begin to boil down those commonalities, we can speak to them. So now we talked about objectives. How do we measure program success? We have participation as one measure. How many sites are offering the program? We have registration. As people register, are they actively signing up for a newsletter? And can we count how many newsletter registrants we get? And then, of course, we just have good old-fashioned attendee counts. We also have achievement. We have completion. I earn a coin. I earn a badge. I do something. We have stewardship. People then contribute volunteer hours after participating in programs. We have a financial thing. How many Florida State Park passes do we sell? Or if we have a gift shop, if we do a program that relates to something available in the gift shop, do sales of that item increase? We also have community health. So, you know, it's not always money. Sometimes it's about providing that service, whether it's mental and emotional, the benefits of being near water or in open spaces, or it's physical, reduction in incidence in heart disease in communities with trails, reduction in blood pressure in people who are in natural settings. The research is there. Message. So sometimes we've done programs and we've seen an increase in personal flotation device usage, or we've had a reduction in complaints about a particular issue, such as our prescribed fire program, or we have an emotional response. And one way we measure that is with bumper stickers and swag. Do people actually use it? Do they hashtag it on social media? And do they put those bumper stickers on their car? So those are some ways that we can measure program success. So some examples, and I'll go through these quickly, is the Operation Recreation GeoTour. We adopted geocaching early on because what we noticed is geocachers were geocaching whether we gave them permission or not. By partnering with Groundspeak, we were able to have Groundspeak help us monitor geocachers and make sure that the areas that were being impacted by geocaches were areas that were okay to be impacted. We also wanted people to learn about hidden cultural resources. So we set the theme to be about protecting cultural resources and learning about them. We gave a reward of coins and we set up the program. Then we noticed that we needed something for kids to engage with. Finding 20 caches is difficult in Florida State Parks. Writing keywords down from messages and keeping track of your sheet and then submitting that might be a little bit much for a kid to kind of get that bite, that flavor, so that they become a lifelong recreator. So we changed the theme. We use the same cache boxes, and there's just 2 programs running side by side for 2 different audiences, one for adults and one for children. The theme of this one was engaging children in discovery. So we used Florida State native species, and there are 6 different species hidden throughout parks. There's a different message for every species on every card. So if you find a species twice, you still learn something new. And once you find 6 species, you submit your tracking sheet and you earn your GeoCoin. So we've distributed, I believe, over 150 adult coins and somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 children's coins. So we're seeing a lot of response, and we've had over, I think, 60,000 geocache hits in our 60 caches around the state. And a lot of these are at lesser visited parks. Some of the larger parks were like, no, we don't really need the extra traffic, but it was a way to drive traffic to areas that could use it. Then, of course, we have our Junior Ranger program. So the ultimate goal of this is for people, young children, to become stewards of natural and cultural resources, to take ownership, to care, and to have a positive impact on them, and also to envision themselves as rangers when they grow up. That's what the head hole cutouts are about. That's what the swearing in ceremonies are about. That's what the stages are about. We also are switching the program up to be more green. We're going from plastic badges to wood badges. So we're very excited about those sustainably harvested resources. So we want people to complete junior ranger activities and earn rewards, so they have that positive emotional connection to it. We want people to learn about Florida State Parks. We want them to become repeat visitors. That's why the program is staged, so you can come back and there's always some point of new engagement. We want people to be able to envision themselves as a ranger when they grow up, and we want them to care about the future of parks, because that's what's going to be able to sustain them. And I think this is very replicatable across ecotourism as a whole, because the ultimate goal is not just to take somebody on a Florida version of a safari, show them a bunch of wildlife and let them get some trophy from it, whether that's physical or an emotional trophy, and then have them put that in a corner of a house and forgotten about it. We really want to connect them to feeling that the life benefit that they receive from that is not only in the thing they take home, but is also in the place from which it came. So how do we measure the success of Junior Ranger? We have had over 13,000 Junior Rangers as of January 2019. We had a 53% increase in 1 year. And we did our Junior Ranger Jamboree. So at 5 parks, we had a day just to celebrate Junior Rangers. And we had 303 people show up at those 5 parks. And we don't stop engaging with people there. So we send a welcome email to every new Junior Ranger registrant, and we send birthday emails during their birth month, and they get a pass to come back into parks for free for their birthday. So we have sent 2,000 of those emails and had a 24% open rate. And for the birthday emails, we have over a 30% open rate. So if you ever do email campaigns, you know those are some pretty good numbers. So we have a nice engaged audience, and that's how we can measure and demonstrate that engagement continues beyond earning your badge and going home. Now, not everyone can make it to a park. I always use the example of the World Wildlife Fund using the panda bear as its mascot to raise money to save burying beetles in the Midwest. The endangered burying beetle eats carcasses of birds and mice and things like that. Not very camera friendly. I think it's beautiful, but not everybody does. So a cute, cuddly panda as a mascot helps people donate, and then that money is used to benefit all sorts of animals. And so lots of people will never see a panda in their life, will never go to panda's native environment, but they will support pandas, and that helps so many other things. So the Outsiders Club is our television show produced with Crawford Entertainment. They also do How to Do Florida if you've worked with them or are familiar with the program. We engage children in park activities, and we feature real rangers assisting those children. I'll send some video links out, but it's also all episodes are available on the Discover Florida channel. So our theme is children learning about parks and demonstrating recreation skills. Our objectives are for people to be able to visualize themselves in a Florida State Park. I can imagine myself in this setting because I've seen it. We want them to learn about Florida State Parks, and we want them to visit a Florida State Park ultimately. And we want them to discover places and things previously unknown to them. We also have our Florida Park Fit program. Lots of people, a traditional gym setting, especially nowadays, is not going to be the way that they find their personal path to fitness. So we had a marketing campaign called Get Florida Park Fit. We had people look at our annual pass as their gym membership. And then we also have tiers of program involvement. So we had the Healthy Campfire Cooking program in partnership with Florida Department of Health. We created an in-park program that rangers could give and teach these recipes. And then we created a version of it for our Junior Ranger. So I pulled this up to demonstrate that you can look to audiences that you previously didn't think about. We didn't think about people working out in parks. I mean, we knew it happened, but once we really thought about it, we were able to tailor a message and programming to them. Under normal circumstances, we have yoga in parks, we have stroller classes in parks, we have CrossFit in parks. So we are providing a service with resources that are generally unused during weekday afternoon times when people work out. With this, we had one program and 3 different audiences. out of park, in park, and children. And so we used that same program and tweaked it and modified it so that it could be used by multiple different audiences. And that really keeps the program from becoming diluted. Sometimes I say if something is for everyone, no one will use it because they don't see themselves in it. We want to hold a mirror up to people and say, this is for you. So what happens when everything changes? You know, we had COVID and everybody did. It didn't happen to us. It happened to everyone. And so, but we had an opportunity to respond to it. So as people were in parks, we wanted to make sure that we gave them visual representations of social distancing. And as people have been out of parks, we've highlighted some of our Parks from Anywhere resources. So Parks from Anywhere is supported by the idea that not everyone can make it to a state park, even under the best of circumstances, but they might want to engage in learning about Florida state parks and supporting them. So we have some digital resources. We have webcams of various parks. We also have coloring books and virtual junior ranger and critter sheets. And the idea is that it preps you to eventually come to a park. So the critter sheets feature native and invasive species, and we're uploading those, and they're colorful pictures. They're accompanied by a color sheet and have digestible information. So kids can really click into those and explore. We also have launched our virtual junior ranger program. And it's like our in-person ranger program, except you do it from home. You use web and video and different interactive elements. And your rewards are things like fun wallpapers for your devices, whether it's your computer or your cell phone, tablet, whatever. And we're really growing and expanding the program. But again, we still want people to be able to envision themselves as rangers. Then we also have coloring sheets that work for both adults and children. And they can also be downloaded to your favorite coloring app and done on your device. So you can see these programs can be done in a park. They can be done in a school setting. They can be done at home. That's why we went ahead and called them Parks from Anywhere. It really gives people that taste and flavor and feel of what to expect when they come to a Florida State Park, and helps us begin that message and invite people in new ways who might not have engaged with the content otherwise. So reopening, very excited to say that 97% of Florida State parks and trails are open for day use. And so that's 169 parks in all. One of those parks is closed because of flooding, has nothing to do with the current situation. So people are getting back out there and recreating, and we're making sure to use our signage to communicate that they do so safely. What's going to happen to scenes like these? Some of the previous speakers talked about, obviously these pictures were before the response to COVID-19. Well, so we did nationwide program days, and we had people interacting in large groups and meeting lofty goals of 11,000 volunteer hours in one day, over 4,000 participants. And we're really going to have to reevaluate how we do these programs and how we can support to continue to have these emotional community connections to resources where people go to an event and feel part of a mission. We're going to have to reevaluate how we get 6,000 people to hike in a day, including our secretary pictured there with his child in the stroller, and how we engage people in Earth Day. How do we get people, if we can't have them close together yet right away? So we're evaluating and changing and modifying, but because we take that mission-based approach, I think we're going to be able to weather it. So just a reminder, we're here to provide resource-based recreation while preserving, interpreting, and restoring natural and cultural resources. My name is Rob Barrett. I'm the programs manager for interpretive services for Florida State Parks. There's my contact information. I love to talk about parks. I love to talk about engaging people in resources. So if you have questions, I'm happy to take them now or to be reached out to by phone or email.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you so much. And we are going to pull up Georgia, and then we'll take all questions at the end. So thank you so much. That was very enlightening, and it's exciting. I now want to go to a Florida State Park as soon as I can. I haven't been to one in a while, so.
Absolutely. And I'll send out resources through the email so that people can take a deeper look at it.
Sounds great. All right, I'm going to pull you up, Georgia.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I see your screen.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me okay?
If you could speak a little louder.
Okay. Just wanted to say good morning to everybody. My name is Georgia Turner, and I'm the Executive Director of the West Volusia Tourism Advertising Authority. And today I'd like to end the program with sharing a wonderful success story with you. It's something that we call Wings of the West. And so before I share the story, though, I'll tell you a little bit about our organization. West Volusia Tourism Advertising Authority is one of 3 tourism offices in Volusia County. The other 2 are in Daytona Beach and New Smyrna. And then to the west of us is Orlando. So that doesn't hurt at all. Location, location, location. We have 14 communities that are packed with attractions. We have everything from the manatees at Blue Springs State Park to pancakes at the Leon Springs State Park, an award-winning Main Street that's been recognized a lot in DeLand, an abundance of trails, as everyone knows, historic homes, and we're also becoming a destination wedding venue. So anyway, everything along this area that of our 14 communities is also along our beautiful St. Johns River. So we're very fortunate for that. But our challenge is to find ways to promote it all, because we only have about a $600,000 budget or $700,000 budget, which is likely to go down right now. So my philosophy, and always has been, I've been in the tourism industry since I was 25 years old, is you've got to be creative, but also you got to be a little bit lucky. And boy, did the jackpot here in West Volusia. How it all started was back in 2014 when a young graphic artist who worked at a dress shop in downtown DeLand drew a set of angel wings in chalk on a green door in an alley as a backdrop for a photo shoot for social media. So if this works, we're going to attempt to show you the video that was done by the Orlando Sentinel a little more than a year after she drew those wings.
Tucked away down an alley in DeLand is a pair of wings.
These doors were just a blank slate, this beautiful canvas. I got the idea to draw the wings in chalk for a quick photo shoot. They were only supposed to be here for an afternoon.
Once the photo hit social media, however,
the photo went crazy, tons of likes, and people started seeking out the wings on their own.
but one rainy day, the wings were washed away.
People kept asking about them. Where are the wings? Where are those wings that you did the picture of?
So the owner of the building asked if Erica would paint the wings so they can fly there forever.
It's crazy. Of course, I didn't expect it, but oh my gosh, it's awesome. I love when I pull into work, I see people here all the time, and with the popularity they've gotten lately, their lines have started to form.
Photos like these using the hashtag #TheLandWings have been posted to Instagram nearly 1,400 times. And in case you were wondering,
I just refer to them as wings, and people interpret them however they wish.
for OrlandoSentinel.com,
It's kind of mind-blowing.
I'm Kayla O'Brien.
Okay. So with that, when I took the job here in 2016, our advertising agency and I decided to leverage the great publicity that the wings were garnering, and we named Erica Group our artist in residence. We commissioned her to do 5 more sets of wings throughout the West Volusia area. So in the meantime, we also utilized her popularity, and she became the host of a video series called What's Up in West Volusia. And I don't know if we're going to make this work or not, but we're going to attempt to see if we can play. Are you hearing me okay, Sarah?
I hear you great, and I was able to hear the video last time. So let's
Okay.
see if this
So,
one works.
because what kind of PR person would I be if I didn't show y'all what I had to offer? So, hold on just a second. We're going to play this one.
What's up in West Volusia? This is the land of giant oaks, beautiful lakes, swimming with manatee, bird watching, and the land of Woodland Boulevard, voted the best historic Main Street in America. Join me. I'm Erica Group, West Volusia's artist in residence. Come discover the Museum of Art DeLand. Rediscover your fountain of youth at Blue Springs State Park. Stay at a modernized historic inn that's hosted rock stars and Hollywood film crews. Check out our packed calendar of street fairs and festivals. Come hear our stories and learn some of our best kept secrets. Visit one of our local craft breweries. Have a night out under the courthouse dome. Treat yourself at our award-winning restaurant. You may end up with a new favorite. Settle in for a bit and find your perfect spot. Unwind. Lose track of time. Explore. Come and visit West Volusia. Classic old Florida with a whole new vibe.
We're really proud of those. We've won several awards and been really proud of what that's done for our area here. So anyway, that's a lot to take in, but we did have somewhat of an idea of where the location should be for the wings, but we really didn't have any idea of how it was going to take off. We knew that we wanted to have them from the up at the top of our area, which is like Pearson, Barberville, Astor, that area, and then have them all the way down to the Deltona area. So this is kind of like the ones that were finished, but I'll tell you a little bit more about how they went from there. We just really had no idea how it was going to take off. The first one, we already knew that we wanted to do the first one at the Skydive DeLand, which is one of our top attractions in one of the top drop zones in the country. And there we did a set of biplane wings. Then, once that one was completed, Barberville's Pioneer Settlement, which is another one of our attractions, actually called us and asked Erica to come out and see what kind of wings that she would like to paint. So she was inspired by some of the settlement's residents, and those were peacocks. So we call them peacock wings, but I guess they're really feathers. But either way, they're some of the most popular ones that we have in the whole entire trail now. Barberville is the only location that has an admission to get in, and they had to create a special pass to see the wings for free because they had so many people there. But most times they also love having them out there because people will make a kind donation just because they came in and were so pleased with them. So at the same time we were creating our trail, Casadega Spiritualist Camp, which is another one of our attractions here in West Volusia, was expanding their ferry trail. So the wings there were natural. Then Lyonia Environmental Center, which is down in Deltona at the southernmost part of our area, has an abundance of scrub jays, and they created an elaborate set. Erica created an elaborate set for them for their new butterfly garden. Then, speaking of butterflies, the next organization that contacted us was the Lake Woodruff National Wildlife Refuge. They actually originally wanted to put wings in their butterfly garden, but Erica was pretty adamant that she didn't want to do any butterfly wings. She just thought that was kind of hokey and they were overdone. So she actually looked up on the ceiling, and hanging down in the visitor center, she saw a replica of a swallowtail kite, and that's what she decided to do there. That was our sixth one, and now people seek them out and have their photo made at everything. It's definitely a thing to get all six of the wings. As you can imagine, we've been able to use the wings in many ways. This one was an ad for AARP with Erica and her husband, her in-laws, and their dog. And then we also had a lot of earned media and stories as a result in local, regional, state, national newspapers and magazines. This was one that was in the Harley Owners Group magazine that was a video that went along with the story in the Harley Owners Group magazine. It's really funny, though, because a lot of our attractions where these are located had never seen bikers before. And as a result of this story being in the Harley Owners Group, they had bikers almost every day. So that's been a really kind of cool offshoot. Yeah, we'll just play a little bit of this for you.
I think the land's a perfect example of why public art is so important. So many people come here just to experience the public art, so it's accessible to everyone. I think it brings such joy.
So anyway, that's just a little bit of an example of the kind of PR that we got as a result of this. There's also a lot of really happy surprises along the way. And once the sixth set was done, a local attorney who's a cyclist, in one day, independently of us, went to all 6 wings on his bike and created the hashtag 6 wings, 2 wheels, 1 day. So we were featured in the Florida Bicycle Association's Messenger magazine as a result of this, and are hoping to do a whole lot more promotion of this concept too. Their law firm even wants to create a bike shirt and give people maybe a little passport, but this is something that's really not quite ready yet, but that's been a great thing for us. So anyway, just a couple of observations as a result of this project. Is something out of the blue can become an attraction. We really, in effect, have created an attraction within an attraction. And it's been a great way. I encourage everybody that when you have a good idea like this, to expand upon it and, to utilize your local flavor, your local characters, like Erica, who's a wonderful person who was also pregnant during part of our process there, and has ended up having a little baby that we think we're going to have her paint some baby wings on one of the attractions. But anyway, it's also a great way to take people throughout all of our 14 communities, to show them the loop, to show them the River of Lakes Heritage Corridor, and we've had a lot of support from all of those folks in helping us promote this. But in addition to that local, regional, and national media attention that I talked about, it's also been some great local public relations for us, because I kidded around and said that when we unveiled the wings down in Deltona, people actually cried. They were like, "Oh, nobody's ever done anything for Deltona before." So they're very proud of those wings, and one of our city leaders even had suggested that the wings become their city symbol. So in today's world, with what we've been going through with COVID-19 in the last couple of weeks, this has also been really good for us, because it's given us something to promote when most of the other attractions were not open. So we sent people to all of our different wings to be able to go on the trail. So just in closing, I'd like to encourage everybody to come experience this yourself. It's been a wonderful way to get the word out about our area. And when you do come, make sure that you hashtag Wings the West. Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Georgia. That was fabulous. All right. So at this point, we can open it up for questions for any of our presenters. It doesn't look like we had any in the chat box. Erin, I think you were able to join us.
Yes, hi. Nope, we have no questions in the chat box at this time.
So we'll just give it a few moments. If you do want to unmute yourself and ask a question, feel free. Otherwise, thank you for coming, and we'll wrap it up in just a second.
I've just got a quick question to Rob.
Yep.
Rob, when do you think the rest of the state parks are going to be open, and how many are open now?
So there's 169 open now for limited day use. The 5 that remain closed are in heavily affected counties, and there's a list of those on the webpage, and we are working to ensure visitor and staff safety. And so that has been what we've been working towards. As far as a specific date of opening, that is not in my purview to be able.
Yeah, we were just curious because all three of ours have opened up, and it's working very well with the limited day use. But that's one of the biggest questions that we get every day is when are they going to be open? So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, our info line has been busier than ever with people curious about opening up, and I can tell you our leadership is definitely working on it.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our presenters today, and a real quick thank you to our sponsors once again. Oh, and we have Linda Brandt said the wings idea was inspiring. I definitely agree. I have put it on my to-do list to come up and visit you, Georgia. It's been a while, and get some wing pictures. All right. So anyway, so next week it'll be our 7th in the series. We are wrapping up. We just have 2 more left for the series. Thanks to everyone that's been joining in every week. So next week we will be back to Thursdays. And so it'll be May 21st at 10 a.m. and it's Social Savvy, Successes and Pitfalls of Social Media Campaigns. We have Abby Hemingway with the Space Coast TPO and Van Tran with Florida Trails Association. So we hope that you will join in next week for Social Savvy. And thanks to all of our presenters once again, all our sponsors, and for everyone for attending. Thank you.